session. So as you can see on your screen, we are getting into a very interesting chapter today, the killing of demon hiranyaksha. So next week, anyway, next Sunday we'll kill Hiranyakashipu in temple, but here today we'll kill Hiranyaksha. So today's session will be taken by Anchal Prabhu, a wonderful devotee, wonderful family, Mataji and a small kid they have, and still wonderfully they are practicing. Prabhu, I don't know how many of you know, he is a IITian, and Prabhu, feel free to correct me that you got in connection with Krishna consciousness in your IIT Kharagpur days, correct?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. And, Prabhu is working in Amazon, one of the most desired companies where people look to work at, and still being in such a uh, position, Prabhu and Mataji, along with their daughter, very little cute daughter, they are practicing Krishna consciousness. So today is the first opportunity we are hearing Anchal Prabhu. So I'm very excited, Prabhu, to hear from you. So please go ahead, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So we'll start with Mangalacharan prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padkamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीन बंधो जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घायते गिरिं यत्कृपातम् अहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्यमीश्वरम्। We will also recite Vara Stotram. So this is verse 1. This is in Canto 3, chapter 13 or 14, I guess. जितं जितं ते जितं यज्ञभावन् त्रयीं तनुं स्वां परिधुन्वते नमः। यद्रोमा गर्तेषु नीललेरुअध्ययस्तस्मै नमः कारण सुकरायते। Hare Krishna. So I would, at the onset, I just want to thank to all the devotees present here, all great Vaishnavas present here. I feel utterly disqualified to speak on a very exalted topic of Lord Varadev, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity. This definitely helped me go deeper into Srimad Bhagavatam. So it introduced me to a wonderful, Krishna avatar, Srimad Bhagavatam. So forgive me for any of the, uh, you know, any of the mistakes here, and I hope to be corrected by all of you if I make any mistake. But I'm treating this as a purification for myself, and I hope it gives pleasure to the heart of all the devotees present here. Hare Krishna. So, we are in Canto 3, Chapter 19, the killing of demon Hiranyaksh, and let's get started. So today's topic, we will do a recap of Canto 3, Chapter 18, which was last week. And then we will go into the summary of this chapter on what are the key important areas this chapter discovers. Then we will go verse by verse, but at least we will take some important verses and their key learnings. We will then present a story that connects all the key messages related to this content, and then the key takeaway points that we can remember and try to imbibe in our lives. So uh, Canto 3, Chapter 18. His Grace Rajeshwar Dwarkadesh Prabhuji took very wonderful class. And it reminded me, actually, I forgot a lot of things he said, so I actually went ahead and looked into the YouTube. So all glories to all devotees who actually record it and put it in the YouTube channel. And I think we should revise before we go to the next class, so that we are able to read Bhagavatam and also connect the dots. So I was able to much more appreciate the hard work of Prabhuji, and how deeply he actually went to all the concepts. But we'll quickly sort of summarize what we learned, so that we are able to connect the dots and move to the next class. It starts with Hiranyaksh arrogance and search for the rod. So basically, Hiranyaksh is very proud of his strength. He's very defiant, and he disregards Varuna's advice, who is the demigod of the aquatic animals, right? And Varuna's clearly warns Lord Hiranyaksh that you will die in the battlefield if you take the battle with the Supreme Lord. But he doesn't pay any heed to it. And then he, on the advice of Narad Muni, he actually goes deep into the ocean, and uh, you know, uh, finds Lord Vara, right? So here Prabhuji takes the difference of Bhagavad Gita 16.4. He mentions about that key demoniac qualities: pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, harshness, and ignorance. And we can clearly see that from the behavior of Lord Vara, that he exhibited all these demoniac qualities. Prabhuji further mentions that how do we purify ourselves. So Prabhuji goes into approaching the Supreme Lord is the only way to purify oneself. And then he says that we cannot approve Krishna directly, and only through uh, association of devotees we can actually approach Krishna to purify ourselves, right? Then going back to the topic, Lord Vara is found by Lord Vara is found by Hiranyaksh, lifting the earth from the ocean. So then he starts blaspheming. Blaspheming and provocation. He starts blaspheming the Lord. So Hiranyaksha says that you're an amphibious beast, and he actually arrogantly claims ownership of the earth and accuses the Lord of deceit and trickery, right? In fact, he threatens to kill the Lord, and says that his worship will be stopped by sages and demigods, right? So here, Lord Vara, uh, is very pained by the harsh words of Hiranyaksh. However, he remains tolerant. Here the learning Prabhuji gave was that Supreme Personality of Godhead has feeling. He's a person, and he does get hurt when the children's misbehave, right? So uh, uh, it also adds that Lord is very magnanimous, and he is affectionate to all, not just to the devotees, not just to the demigods, but even to the demons, right? He's very affectionate, and he considers all as his children. So seeing Earth frightened, Lord Vara rises from the water like an elephant protecting its mate from the alligator, right? So then Hiranyaksha escalates the insult by challenging the courage of Lord Vara, right? And Lord Vara safely places the earth on top of the water, right? And here Brahma and other demigods starts to praise the Lord and showers all the flowers and blessings to him. Um, and now, you know, it's still very verbal. Lord Vara sarcastically calls Hiranyaksha a hunting dog, and criticizes that he's bound by death and he's governed by the laws of death, right? And he accepts the challenge, and he says to Hiranyaksha that you should act, and rather than boasting about your strength, you should get into the fight, right? So and then the fierce battle begins. So both have the powerful mace. Mace is the gada, right? Between So the battle begins between Lord Vara and Hiranyaksha. So both sustain blows and become more and more enraged as the fighting goes on. So it's equivalent to fighting two bulls over a cow, right? So their combat is very intense, and it is witnessed by all the demigods and Brahma. Prabhuji calls out that although Lord Bara is very, very powerful, he's supremely powerful. He can crush Hiranyaksh at any given time. However, he does he fights in a playful mode, just to please devotees and provide protection to them. Right. So he's almost very playful, even though he's very, very powerful, right? So at that point, Brahma starts praying to the Lord that there is no point in waiting for this demon, because it's almost about to become evening time, and the demon's power will increase. So it is time to kill the demon, right? So here Prabhuji ends with saying that devotees are always concerned about the welfare of all living entities, right? And he goes on, Prabhuji goes on further to say that devotees not only care about the living devotees, but they also are concerned about the welfare of Krishna himself, right? And he takes the example of Mother Yashoda, and how the Brajavasis always were very concerned about the safety of the Lord, right? So that was the summary. So basically the fight is about to start, and chapter 19 is about that fight, right? So we'll move into chapter 19. So at a glance, chapter 19 has 38 verses, and they are divided into the some subsections. Verse 1 is when Lord Vara is accepting the Brahma's pure prayers. Right. So Lord Vara is preparing to fight for the battle. Now, verse 2 to 6 is about intense duel between Lord Vara and Hiranyaksha. And so how they are fighting. So it's the dramatic battle, how the clash happens, what kind of weapons Hiranyaksha is using against the Lord, right, and what kind of trickery Hiranyaksha is using, right, and how Lord Vara is able to respond, right, which is verse 7 to 12. Verse 13 to 16 is the failure of Hiranyaksha attack, where he is unable to win over the Lord, and eventually all the illusions created by Hiranyakshas are destroyed, and eventually Hiranyaksha dies in the battle against Lord Vara. Verse 27 to 32 is when Brahma and all other demigods who are watching this epic battle glorify Lord Vara, right, and also glorify the blessed death because at the hands of Lord Vara. right? And eventually then Maitreya Muni talks about the glories of this pastime and what is the benefit of hearing this pastime. So we move to verse 1. So verse 1 was Lord accepts. So connecting from chapter 18, Brahma starts praying to the Lord that, oh Lord, it is time to kill this demon, because this demon is very, very wicked, and the power of this demon will only increase in the evening. So it's better to kill this demon now. So to that, Lord, accepts Brahma's pure prayers, right? So we will recite the shloka and then we'll try to see the translation, and we'll talk about the key points, right? So the shloka is Maitra Uvacha Avadharya Virichyasya निर्व्यलाकीमृतवचा प्रहस्य प्रेम गर्भेन तद अपांगन सो अग्रहीत. So translation is that Sri Maitra Muni is talking to Vidur ji and explaining the pastime of Lord Vara. So Sri Maitra Muni is saying, after hearing the words of Brahma, the creator, which were free from all sinful purposes, and as sweet as nectar, the Lord heartily laughed and accepted his prayer with a glance laden with love, right? So the key lessons are, Brahma's prayers were, free from any sinful intent, right? Sinful intent is nirvyalika, right? So compared to demons, demons' mentality is always to seek boons or seek power for any selfish or sinful purposes, right? We see the example of Hiranyakashipu, right, and many other demons that we have in the pastimes with the Lord. So since they do not know their self-interest, what is the good thing to ask, they always look for, selfish interest, and they try to get boon for their own sinful purposes. So here, Lord Brahma is asking for the welfare of all living entities. Therefore, the prayers. So this verse is giving us in what kind of prayers we should have. They should be of pure motive, right? The second key lesson to learn here is Lord's love for his devotees, right? So um, in Bhagavad Gita also, chapter 5, 29 verse, Krishna says, Rudam Sarva Bhutanam, right? So he's an eternal well-wisher of all the entities, right? So, Lord is happily accepting the prayers of Brahma, right? So, Prabhupada in the purport says that in Bengal, dacoits used to pray for Kali for crimes, but not to Vishnu, who only fulfills pure desires, right? So that's an example Prabhupada gave in the purport. So whenever anybody approaches Lord Vishnu, generally Lord Vishnu will only bless the devotees for the pure desires and not for any evil purposes, right? So you will never find any example where Lord Vishnu is giving boons to any miscreants, right, for any sinful purposes. So one example we have here is of Putana, who wanted to kill the Lord, but Lord instead only accepted the motherly affection, because Putana wanted to feed the Lord, even though with poisonous milk. But Lord accepted her as the Dhatri in Vrindavan, right? So there's a shloka in Bhagavatam which says, Aho Bakiyam Stana Kalkutam जिघाम शयापयाद अपि असाध्वी लेभे गतिम धात्री उचितम ततो नर्या कर्वा दयूलम sharanam vrajema, right? So so Krishna accepted and granted the position of Dhatri to Putana, right? So such glorious and magnanimous is the Lord. Lord always looks for always ignores or always ignores the negatives and always accepts the positives of all and living entities, right? Even though they come to Lord with evil intentions. So we'll move on. So verse 2 to 6 is the intense battle between Lord Vara and Hiranyaksha, right? So there are many sections here. So uh, so initially, Lord Vara came from the Brahma's nostril, right? Aiming his mace at Hiranyaksha, right? So he is appearing from the nostril of Lord Brahma. Now, Lord Vara is also very playful. So, Lord Vara's mace in this fight slips from his hand, and it falls to the ground, which encourages demon Hiranyaksha. So he's actually playing, right? So giving Hiranyaksha a chance to sort of hit him. But, even in those days, Hiranyaksha refuses to combat with Lord Vara, which is like a lesson for everyone, right? Like even in such even a powerful demon, Hiranyaksha also follows the laws of fair combat. So he doesn't fight, and he actually lets Lord Vara pick his mace, right? Um, so as soon as the mace falls, the onlookers and all the demons who are looking at this battle, they cried out loud, right? And Lord Vara invoked his Sudarshan Chakra, right, just to pacify all the demons and devotees looking at this war, right? So key learning is Lord's dealing with his devotees and respecting the laws of righteousness. So here Hiranyaksha is, you know, uh, uh, not respecting the laws of the combat. So here one more thing is if you look at Lord Vara is looking at Hiranyaksh in the mood of Swaparshad, right? So where Hiranyaksh is coming from Vaikuntha, and he is the gatekeeper, right? So uh, even though it may appear that he's a demon, but Lord is looking at him as a Swaparshad. So in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verse 5, Bhagavan says, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Bahuni me Vyatitani Janmani Tav Charjuna Tanyam Ved Sarvani Natvam Vetat Parantapa. So Supreme Personality of Godhead is saying that many births both you and I have passed. I can remember all of them, but you cannot, O subduer of the enemy. So here Lord Vara understands that this demon is actually none other than the gatekeeper of the Vaikuntha Loka. So he's looking at him like that. So yeah. So Lord never forgets our services, right? And he always remembers that for time memorial, even though we may have forgotten, right? So next one is the battle is now going deeper, and we will start seeing how Lord Vara is responding, right? A demon, he's Hiranyaksha is very angered at the sight of Lord's lotus eyes and discus, and he's almost hissing like a serpent, right? And he's attacking with all fury, like he's very angry, and you can see from this picture, like he's very angry. However, Lord is just doing a very graceful defense. He's playfully knocking aside the mace that is thrown by Hiranyaksh with his left foot, and then brushing away, almost like brushing away the mace, right? So then Lord Vara almost mocks and tells Hiranyaksh, okay, pick up your mace and fight again, right? Like displaying fearless and compassion, right? So as the mace flew again, Lord Vara firmly caught it, and then just like Garuda seizing a snake, right? So now Hiranyaksha starts understanding that Lord Vara is very powerful, and he feels defeated and ashamed because he's unable to fight because the mace is caught by the Lord, and Hiranyaksha is hesitating to reclaim his weapon, right? So he's humiliated, right? So here you can see from the mood of Hiranyaksha that he's very very full of envy, right? He's very very angered and full of envy, right? But the Lord is giving him chances, many chances, right? So from this one of the lesson to learn is, despite our envy to the Lord gives us many chances to come back to him, right? So we have taken millions of births, and we have been in this material world for a very long period of time. We have forgotten our identity as the servant of the Lord, Jivera Swarup Hoye, Krishnera Nitya Das. But still, we are doing our own activity, but Krishna is sending the devotees. Krishna is, reminding us through his scriptures that he hasn't forgotten us, right? And he is willing to forgive us despite our envy since millions of birth, right? So verse 13 to 16 is about failure of Hiranyaksha attack. So now uh, he is starting to use more weapons to Lord Vara. It's like the last leg of the fight. He has been angry for very long period of time. However, all his weapons are not working against Lord Vara. He's very very furious and desperate, and Lord Vara is has taken his Sudarshan chakra, and it shattered. So shattered all the weapons. Finally, he actually throws one of the Trishula or trident, and Lord Vara shatters the trident effortlessly. Right here, the example given is Indra clipping Garuda's wing. So the story goes like this: that Garuda, which is the carrier, the Vahan of Lord Vishnu, is is uh, is actually seeking a pot of nectar to free his mother from his step grandmother. Right. So there are a lot of details into this, but Indra attacked him with his thunderbolt, and to honor the power of Indra's weapon, Garuda voluntarily allowed his wings to be destroyed. And even though he was otherwise invincible, he respected and showed etiquette to Indra, right? So that is the story being referred when we say that Sudarshan actually shattered the trident, just like Indra clipping Garuda's wing, right? Now, demon realizing that all his weapons are now no more of use. Lord, he actually strikes Lord Vara's chest, right, which contains Srivatsa, with his fist, and Lord completely remains unmoved, right? Like he takes it as if somebody is throwing a garland at him, right? So the example given is it's like a garland striking an elephant, right? So to an elephant, it is like a play, right? So similarly, like when grown-up fathers play with their child, similar to that, Lord Vara is playing with Hiranyaksha, right? So Shrivatsa is the word used here, right? Which is basically a Lord in Lord Vara's chest, right? So the detail given by in the purport by Srila Prabhupada is that it's a unique curl of white hair on the chest of Supreme Lord, and which marks him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So in Vaikuntha, all the devotees and the Lord itself have identical form apart from the Srivatsa. So Srivatsa symbol actually distinguishes him from all the other devotees of the Lord, right, from the appearance perspective, right? So here, there are some references. So we see that we see that Hiranyaksha is very very envious because of his behavior to Lord Varaha, right? He's very, very envious. He's furious, he's enraged, and he's fighting with all his might to the Lord, right? And if you look at some of the signs of envy, right, in the scriptures, one of the key sign of envy to the Lord is disregarding scriptural injunctions, right? So this is mentioned in chapter 3, verse 32 in Bhagavad Gita, where it says that yeta vetat shuyanto nanu tashtanti me matam sarvagyana vimudanstan vidhi nashtan achetasaha. But so those who out of envy disregard these teachings and do not follow them regularly are to be considered bereft of all knowledge, befooled and ruined in their endeavors for perfection. So Krishna is saying here that those who do not follow the scriptural injunctions, those who do not follow my instructions are to be considered fools, right? Who are bereft of any knowledge, right? And they ruin any of their attempt for perfection or perfection of life, right? So the second sign of envy is denial of Supreme Lord's position, right? So we can see this clearly in our day to day. A lot of people challenge the existence of the Lord, right? So this is one of the signs of envy, that uh, considering Lord to be an ordinary person or equal to oneself is a sign of envy. In even in one of the instructions of 10 offenses of holy name, we say that we should not instruct a faithless person or an envious person the holy name, right? So one of the Bhagavad Gita shlok here, chapter 9, verse 11 is Avajananti Mamudha Manushim Tanum Ashritam Param Bhavam Agnanto Mama Bhuta Maheshwaram. So Krishna is saying, fools deride me when I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature as the supreme Lord of all that be. Right. So third one is disrespecting and offending devotees. Right. So Krishna uh, takes this one very, very seriously. We all know the negatives of Vaishnava aparadh. Right. There are many ways to commit Vaishnava aparadh, but disrespecting or not not following the instructions of Vaishnavas or devotees is a sign of envy to the supreme, right? Uh, and The root cause of all this is we have come to this material world with an ownership mentality or proprietor mentality, and we are trying to enjoy on our own, right? But Krishna is refuting uh, that argument in chapter 5, verse 29, where he's saying, Bhoktaram Yagna Tapasam Sarva Loka Maheshwaram Suhradam Sarva Bhutanam Gyatmam Mam Shanti Mrachati. So he is declaring, he's declaring that he's the ultimate proprietor, right? He's an ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities. So one may think of this as an arrogance, but like Supreme Lord is just saying the facts, right? That he's the ultimate beneficiary, right? So if we think of ourselves as the beneficiary or the supreme enjoyer, and if we try to enjoy in absence of the Lord, then that is a sign of envy to him, right? So we must take some action in terms of following scriptural injunctions, right? We should respect devotees, and we should not think of ourselves as owner or the proprietor or the enjoyer, right? In fact, we should render service to the Lord. So the fight has deepened now, and now Hiranyaksha, all the weapons are destroyed, and he has tried to hit with his like bare hands. That has also not worked. Now he's trying to now he's entering into trickery, right? So Hiranyaksha is actually unleashing all the magical illusions, right? So now onlookers are or the people who are watching the battle become more and more fearful that the universe destruction is about to happen, and all the entire climate is enraged. Fierce winds are blowing. So there are descriptions about sky raining pus, blood, hair, stool, urine, right? Thunders and lightning echoed across the heavens. Mountains are hurling weapons of war. Naked demons are with trident appeared wildly. All the Rakshasas are advancing on foot, elephants in chariots, right? So it's a very, very fearful atmosphere, and all the demigods and are getting fearful, right? So, however, Lord Vara, as soon as he releases his Sudarshan Chakra, immediately all the magical illusions that Hiranyash is showing disappear, right? So, but in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says that even, we can see that, you know, many yogis and many yogis also do this, right? So there's a story of Durvasa Muni and Ambarish Maharaj, where Durvasa tries to display the magical power, but he was overwhelmed by the Sudarshan Chakra, and he had to run and go to all the lokas, and eventually he falls at the feet of Ambarish Maharaj and then gets forgiveness, right? So here the shloka is um, the Bhagavatam shloka is Pradushratanam Mayanam Asurinam Vinashayat Sudarshana Stram Bhagavan Prayukta Diyatam Tripat. So Tripat here, the word Tripat is like the enjoyer of three kinds of sacrifices, like all sacrifices. So Bhagwan is referred to that as like an enjoyer of all sacrifices, right? So what are those three sacrifices? Like Karma Yagya, Dhyan Yagya, and Gyan Yagya. So philosophical speculation, meditation, and Karma Yagya. Um, so so basically here Bhagavatam, like Matrimony is saying that Krishna is the supreme enjoyer of all sacrifices, right? He is reiterating what is also there in the Bhagavad Gita. Right, we will move on. So now Hiranyaksha, his weapons are destroyed. He has tried with his own bare hands, and he has also uh, done all the magical illusions, and nothing is happening now, right? And the final confrontation is now Hiranyaksha actually goes and crushes, tries to get hold of Lord Vara, and actually he wants to do the deadly embrace, right? This is also done by Dhritarashtra, right? He tries to do deadly embrace to Bhima, right? In Mahabharata, right? Similar to that, now Hiranyaksha is saying that, one last try, let me just try to kill Lord Vara by, embracing him very tightly, right? But to his shock, Lord is actually not, um, he's not able to catch hold of Lord Vara, and Lord effortlessly, stands beyond his reach, right? So Hiranyaksha again attacks with brutal fists, and right, but and finally, when Lord Vara sees that it's time to sort of kill Hiranyaksha, so Lord Vara strikes him with at the root of the ear, right? And he just Hiranyaksha falls down like uncontrollably, like his eyeballs are bulged, and his limbs are shattered, and his hairs are like scattered, right? And he collapses like a tree collapses, like as the roots are uprooted, right? So he just collapses like that, right? So there are many key learnings here, but one of the e-learning is that it's very, very difficult to, in fact it's impossible to measure the Lord, right? Here Hiranyaksha is trying to measure the Lord and try to give him like an embrace, or like trying to catch hold of him, but Lord is like he cannot be caught, right? Because it's him, he is immeasurable, he is the supreme personality of Godhead, right? Like he is the source of everything. So Lord Varai is not caught by Hiranyaksha, and Prabhupada gives an example here that even though in this example he is not caught, but he can easily be caught in a box like Laddu Gopal. A lot of devotees actually, when they travel, they keep the Laddu Gopal in their travel bag, right? Like they have a special carrier for the Lord, right? Lord, out of affection, is ready to be caught, right? Another example we have is Yashoda Mai trying to catch hold of little Krishna. This is in the Damodar Leela, and he agrees to be bound by the mortar out of love for Yashoda Mai, right? So Prabhupada goes on to say that, with scientific advancement of knowledge, or material power, we cannot empower, or we cannot actually become equal to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? Like we see that scientists are trying to, develop a new technology, or build weapons, trying to rule over the world, right? But that will be a futile attempt, because we cannot ever become equal to the Supreme Lord, right? Like that is also a sign of envy, that we are trying to enjoy without Krishna, right? And that attempt will always be futile. Okay, so Lord Brahma and demigods, now Hiranyaksha has died, and all the Brahma and demigods have arrived, and then they are trying to praise. So praise whom? Like Brahma is very very is admiring that, even though Hiranyaksha is killed, his face is still glowing because of the touch with Lord Vara, and he is marveling that who could attain such a blessed death at the hands of the Lord Vara, right? So he's struck. Hiranyaksha is struck by the Lord Sacred's 4 foot. While gazing at his form, he actually dies. So this is actually, one of the blessed deaths where even yogis who are seeking liberation are envying that Hiranyaksha had such a blessed death, that he was looking at Lord Vara at his time, and he was killed by Lord Vara, right? And Brahma also reveals that, Hiranyaksha and his brothers were the divine gatekeepers. We discussed this, and therefore, they have received the shelter of the Lord. They have gone back to the becoming the gatekeeper, right? So one of the lessons to learn here is that nothing happens by chance. So one may look at this battle and see, hey, Lord Vara is being so cruel and killing Lord in killing Hiranyaksh, but there is history to this, right? So similarly, when there are tribulations in our life, we need to think of that as a mercy of the Lord, right? We need to think that, despite it's to purify ourselves, that there is something good to happen. There is Let's take that as an opportunity to come closer to the Lord, right? And we see that in many examples in scriptures, right? Special example is Kunti Maharani is trying to pray to the Lord that, may I always have tribulations in my life. Then actually, I seek your grace, in such tribulations, right? So, devotees see, struggles and tribulations in life as the blessing of the Lord. That is one of the key points here, right? So demigods go ahead and, offer obeisances, right? And they say, "Oh Lord Vara, slayer of evil, protector of the worlds, enjoyer of sacrifices, we are now at peace at your lotus feet, right? Now we are taken your shelter. Now you've killed Hiranyash, and uh, reduce the pain for so many people, right? Here, uh, it is re-verifying that, uh, Krishna, or Lord Vara in this case, is the supreme enjoyer of all sacrifices, right? And post the death, now Lord Vara is joyfully going back to his own abode, and he is getting glorified by Brahma and all the demigods, right? So Maitreya Muni here concludes that this pastime shows the Supreme Lord's effortless victory over mighty demons, right? Um, So yeah, so we'll move on. So yeah, so the key learnings from this one is uh, Supreme Personality of Godhead is the owner, proprietor, enjoyer, right? When we say supreme enjoyer, sometimes people do not take that in a right mode, right? So we have to, why he is a supreme enjoyer, because he's the supreme owner and proprietor, because he since he owns all everything around us, therefore he is the supreme enjoyer, right? That connects the dots. And so this is validated in Ishopanishad verse 1, Isha Vasham Idam Sarvam यत् किंचम जगत्याम जगत तेन तक्तेन भुंजीता मा गृधः तस्य स्विद्धनम. So translation is everything animates or inanimates that is within the universe is controlled or owned by the Lord. One should therefore accept only those things necessary for themselves which are set aside at his quota, and one should not accept other things, knowing well to whom they belong, right? So it's a very wonderful instruction for us that all the resources available to us, we need to use them very very judiciously in the mood of gratitude, and not exploit, right from the money that we get to the environment we live in. We should be using all those resources in the mood of gratitude towards the Lord, because it eventually belongs to the Lord, right? And eventually engage the resources we have towards the service of the Lord, right? The second key learning is Supreme Personality of God is his true object of meditation, real yoga, right? So uh, Prabhupada here actually goes deeper into what yoga is in his purports, right? So we see there are so many false narratives and false gurus trying to give different versions of yoga, right? When I was in US, I heard about bear yoga, goat yoga, cow yoga. There are so many weird yogas every now and then came up, right? And trying to fool the people, right? But here, Prabhupada is saying that the true purpose of yoga is to connect to the supreme, right? Even though we all see that yoga has become very very popular, and when we say yoga, it's like the pranayams and the yogic exercises, like Baba Ramdev and many health conscious gurus have propagated the pranayams and yogic exercises, but the goal there is to achieve good health. So um, uh, Prabhupada is saying that the goal of pranayam should be used, to achieve good health, but that good health should be used to further to meditate on the Lord. We should not stop at just being healthy, right? And if you just want to be healthy and just enjoy and get glories about your good health, then the purpose of yoga is defeated, right? So even for yogic exercises and pranayams, we do not discourage being unhealthy, we do not discourage being healthy, but one should understand the true purpose of the yoga, right? It is to connect to the Lord, right? With the healthy body and healthy mind, we will be able to connect better with the Lord. Therefore we should practice even yogic practices, or stay healthy or do meditation and pranayams with the intent to connect to the supreme, and do better chanting, right? So here also Prabhupada is saying who is the true object of meditation, right? So people do, when they do yoga, they focus on the light, they focus on something, right? But Prabhupada is clearly saying that the object of meditation should be Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? Because that is the true purpose of yoga, right? Uh, Prabhupada also says that purified life means to serve the Lord. So life is meant to serve the Lord, right? We are the eternal servants of the Lord. We should always remember that, right? So he also denies that apparent goodness, right? Like people are behaving in a good way, but if they don't have any Krishna in their life, then that is still to be considered demoniac, because that apparent goodness is not there to serve the Lord, right? Um, Also in this shloka, Maitra Muni is saying that he heard all this from his predecessors or from his gurus, he heard this pastime and he's just repeating the same, right? So that is the third key learning, that whenever we repeat or recite or share any pastime, we have to share as is hearing from a authority, right, or hearing from an authorized source. So one of the now the question may arise is like, what is an authority, like, or who is an authorized source, right? So there's a example in Mundak Upanishad, where the shloka is there, 1.2.212, 1.2.12. The word here is Shotriyam Brahmanishtam, right? Shotriyam. So these are the two qualities of an authorized guru, right? Shotriyam means learn it from scriptures in disciplic succession, right? Like the one person who has learned the scriptures in disciplic succession of all, like, we have 4 sampradayas, right? So the person who has learned or heard the glories of the holy name and learned about the Lord from an authorized source, right? So he is in the parampara. Second one is he needs to be Brahmanishtam, so firmly realized in the absolute truth. Realized means like he has implemented those principles that he has heard from the Vedic scriptures, and one can see that clearly in his life, right? So he is walking the talk, right? Like he has implemented, so that any person exhibiting these two qualities can be considered an absolute, or like, an authorized source, right? On the contrary, people who are are using their own mind to sort of misinterpret the scriptures. There's a shloka in Bhagavatam, when Prahlad Maharaj is saying Manorathena Siti Dhavato Bahi, right? So he's saying that anyone who is actually doing mental speculation and is engaging in the service of the Lord, external energy, there cannot be any good quality in that person, right? Because he is actually sitting in the horse of his own mind and trying to run here and there, right? And he's listening to his mind, right? So it's just mental speculation. So one should hear from an authorized source. One should hear from the authorized source in a submissive mode, with gratitude, and learn about the Lord, right, and follow the instructions, right? We are moving to the last leg of this chapter, where we are talking about the glories of the pastimes and what are the benefits of hearing any pastimes, or the Lord's pastimes. So Vidura here is expressing his joy after he has heard the pastime of Lord Vara, and he's like very, very happy, right? And he's and not just Lord Vara, but all the pastimes of devotees are also very, very pleasant, and it gives transcendental happiness to the devotees, right? Maitre Muni is also saying that Lord is very, very merciful, right? Like, and he gives an example of Gajendra Moksha Leela, where due to Gajendra's heartful prayers, he was saved from a grave danger as a result of the mercy of the Lord, right? And Maitre Muni says that who would not serve such a compassionate Lord, right? He's easily pleased by pure-hearted devotees who seek his shelters, but he's very hard to please for the insincere, right? So Prabhupada here in his purport talks about gratitude, right, which is one of the key principles to be applied in our life. That only when we are truly grateful to the Lord, only then we will surrender to the Lord. And once we surrender to the Lord, then we will develop service attitude, right, and we will try to do some service to the Lord, right? So it's a he on the contrary, he says that ungrateful people, they enjoy sun, moon, water, right? They are to be considered thieves and rogues, right? So Prabhupada is using very, very strong language here, right? As a father, that one should not be ungrateful to the Lord, and like there are so many things we are getting we should be grateful for to the Lord, right? So key learnings here, like, how do we develop this mood of service? So we talked about gratitude, but one of the key, one of the key ways to develop the mode of service is also to preach the message of the Lord, right? Krishna, in the last few verses of Bhagavad Gita, say that anybody who explains bhakti to the devotees, the devotional service is guaranteed, and at the end he will come back to me, right? So Bhagavad Gita 18.68 and 18.69, right? Uh, so connecting to hearing, right? Uh, Bhagavatam reading, there are many examples, but I'll just talk about the first example. Bhati sarveshu vedeshu. So this comes in Padma Puran. So Bhati sarveshu vedeshu gati sarvesham jantunam varam sarveshu puraneshu taran sarva papanam tena bhagavatam uchyate. So this Puran shines brilliantly. Bha, in all the Vedas, it highlights the meaning of the Vedas lucidly, and it shows the goal, which is Gati, to all devotees. And it is the best Varam, best means Varam, of all Puranas, and it helps the readers cross over the tendency to commit sinful activities. So, Taran. Because of these qualities, this great work is called Bhagavatam, right? So, it's very, very instructional. So, last few slides. So what is the fruit of hearing the pastimes, right? We develop, once we we should understand who do we hear from, right? We should hear from an authorized source. We talked about who the authorized source is, and as we hear the glories of the pastime, we become attracted towards the Lord and his holy name, right? And it also, these last few verses also say that uh, glories of the holy name uh, bestows the listener with extraordinary wealth, fame, and longevity, and fulfillment of all desires. Even though the devotees do not aspire for it, but these are the benefits called out. Our aspiration truly should be to become a humble servant of the Lord, right? And the beginning, at the end, it says that at the beginning of devotional service, so Prabhupada is saying that the beginning of devotional service is when we are hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, right? So it's basically dedicating time to read Srimad Bhagavatam from the right source, right? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also reiterating this in one of the shlokas in Madhya Leela. Sadhu Sangha Nam Kirtana Bhagavata Shravan Mathuravas Shri Murti Shraddhaya Sevana Sakala Sadhana Shrestha Ei Pancha Anga Krishna Prema Janmaya Ei Panchera Alpasanga. So even Alpasanga, even like a uh, slight uh, sangha of any of these five limbas, which is Sadhu Sangha, Nam Kirtan, Bhagavad Shravan, Mathuravas, Sri Murti Shraddhaya, like deity worship, even the slight performance of any of these five activities awaken Krishna Prem, right? So it's a very, very instructional, uh, you know, uh, instruction from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lastly, we'll end with the story. So this story is, all of like Gopu Kumar and his journey back to Godhead, right? So it is very resemblant. So Sanatan Goswami is narrating this story in Brihad Bhagavatamrita. So he essentially, it just depicts like all souls who are wandering in the material world. We have had multiple lifetimes of births, cycles of birth, old age, disease, death, rebirth, right? And this cycle is continuing to go on, right? And uh, you know after and Krishna is very, very so this Gopa Kumara is actually going on in his lifetime, and Krishna is very anxious that this way he will never come back to me. So Krishna sends devotees, so that he actually inspires Gopa Kumar to take up the chanting of the holy name, and then slowly Gopakumar becomes qualified to go to the spiritual world, right? So the journey is described where he goes to the Vaikuntha planet. He becomes very delighted to see all the devotees, but there is always this tinge of dissatisfaction where he still misses Lord Shri Krishna, right? And we jump directly to the plot where he is directly in Vrindavan. He's looking around. He has reached Vrindavan and he is missing Lord Shri Krishna. And he starts asking different people, and he sees that a lot of the Vrindavan Vasis are are morose because Krishna is gone to feed the cows, and he's in the jungle, and he's in the forest, Vrindavan forest. And an old man tells him that here is the location of Nanda Maharaj, who is the king of Goloka. So go and inquire there, right? And Gopakumar, as he's walking, Krishna sees him, and actually he comes running away. He comes running, and quickly recognizes Gopakumar, and Gopakumar is actually Sarupa, right? So instantly he drops everything and he runs to embrace him, right? So he's Krishna is very overwhelmed with joy, and he actually faints at the in Gop Kumar arms, and he really welcomes him back with immense love and gratitude, right? And Krishna is saying that I'm so thankful to you that you have come and come back to me. I was missing you so much, right? So Krishna, with this story, we are it symbolizes, right, like that Krishna is waiting for all of us to come back, right? And he's eagerly waiting. He is giving many opportunities for us to become purified by sending devotees, by giving us chance to chant his holy name, right? And we have to just take that opportunities with both hands, serve the devotees, be grateful and understand the mercy of the Lord, right? And eventually go back home, back to Godhead, right? So last few minutes, I think the key takeaways are we have to follow instructions, and don't not be whimsical, right? So basically it's the opposite of envy, showing gratitude. We also talk about the dangers of hearing scriptures from non-devotees, right? They're just like milk with milk touched with serpent, right? And we supreme personality of Godhead is actually the supreme proprietor, owner, right? He's an eternal well-wisher. We saw that from the story, that he's eagerly waiting for us, right? We have to just take to the path of devotional service, serve devotees, serve the Lord, chant the holy name nicely, hear Bhagavatam, read Bhagavatam, and develop, purify ourselves and develop love of God, right? Krishna Prem, right? So it also, we also discuss the importance of hearing scriptures from the right source. We discuss the qualification of Guru, right? Brahmanishtam and Shotrayam, right? And then we can develop the mood of service through gratitude, right? Once we understand how grateful we should be for all the resources that are given to us, we should utilize them to the service of the Lord, and we should be grateful for everything that the Lord has given us, right? And at the end, we discussed about the real yoga is to meditate on the Lord, on the Nam, Rupa, Guna, Leela of the Lord. And then we also discussed the five limbs of bhakti, right? Which is basically, of which reading Bhagavatam is basically the, one of the prime things to do. And that is what we are doing in this class. So reading Bhagavatam is the beginning of devotional service. That's what Prabhupada says, right? So we need to take this opportunity very, very seriously and read Bhagavatam with all our heart. We need to, I was hearing this in one of the lectures, His Grace Vasacharya Prabhu was saying that one should, when we read Bhagavatam, we need to read Bhagavatam and manan, do the manan and chintan of it, right? Like think about what is mentioned in Bhagavatam, and also try to apply, see what can be applied in our life, right? Like if we read with that attitude, we will slowly Srimad Bhagavatam will unfold in our heart and will purify us, right? It says that Krishna directly purifies a person who's reading Bhagavatam with sincerity, with surrender, and with the right attitude, right? So with that, we come to the end of the session. Thank you so much for everyone. I know I actually extended by 10-15 minutes. Not sure. Thank you so much. We'll wait for any questions from anyone.
Anyone has any question or comments? Anybody would like to add anything?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavad Pranam, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I will say, what a amazing, enchanting class, Prabhu. It is, I mean, it had such a amazing, beautiful flow. You quoted so many slokas from many, many scriptures, including Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Mundaka Upanishad, and then so many pastimes were included also, very beautifully. So I think, in fact, you are talking like a, how to say it, seasoned preacher, rather than presenting it for the first time. So we were discussing while we were listening to you. It was absolutely amazing. And then so many beautiful, how to say, takeaways, which we have, which has helped us. One of the things really struck me is Lord looked at Hiranyaksha as a Swaparshad, his eternal servant. So that also gives a lot of hope to people like us, that we can pray to the Lord that he also remembers us. Probably at some point in time we were his servant, and then give his mercy to us. So, and then despite our envy to the Lord, he gives us many, many or unlimited chances to go back to him. And then you also mentioned that through the pastimes that we can easily find the Lord through love. There is no other way. So these are just some of the points I was mentioning because I was so keenly listening. You could really capture the whole audience. And I will say also it's a leadership quality of Mahaprem Prabhu, bringing in devotees who are not presenting so much and unknown, and then showing so beautiful capabilities to present very nicely. And this is also the benefit of people coming from the best institutions of India like IIT, So we feel so enthralled. Thank you so much. I have no questions, but amazing class. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I just want to express my gratitude to Mahaprem Prabhuji and Neeta Mataji for guiding me always. All this content was just copy paste from what Prabhuji gave me. I just repeated, and I'm sure I repeated with a lot of mistakes. So, any mistakes that you hear is all mine. Prabhuji gave so many wonderful points on gratitude, qualification of Guru, all of that content on Mundaka Upanishad that you just mentioned all came from Mahaprem Prabhuji. I just tried to copy paste. While I was speaking, I realized that I spoke with a lot of mistakes. So please forgive me for any of those mistakes. I hope it was useful to the devotees here. But yes, I'm very, very grateful to Mahaprem Prabhu for pushing me. I was very hesitant in taking this service because one feels fearful, right, for the first time when he speaks on such exalted topics. But I see this as a learning and an opportunity to read Bhagavatam. Without that forcing function of exam or such. It's very, very hard to read on a more regular basis and think with read with more intent. If we have to explain to others, then to read with much more depth, right? So really thankful to Mahaprem Prabhuji for providing all the guidance and all the information in this lecture.
One interesting thing you also mentioned was, Lord hit Hiranyaksha on the root of his ear. So I was remembering Hindi mein jo saying hai, kaan patti ke niche lagaya. So I think it came from there. So it was very, very amazing to connect to that.
Yes.
Thank you,
Yes,
Prabhu.
yes.
Excellent.
Nice observation, Dwarkesh. Rajesh Prabhu. Any other comments or questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Achyuta Patarvandadas here. Anchal Prabhu, really amazing session. So you mentioned your gratitude to Mahaprem Prabhu, absolutely, but Guru Maharaj also said that if you simply repeat like a parrot of what devotees and Srila Prabhupada has mentioned in the scriptures, and that you can become a guru. So that's what you beautifully did in terms of explaining what various pastimes and Rajeshwar Prabhu has already explained in detail. So thank you very much. A very, very insightful session. And the presentation also, the PPT was very apt visually also to make a appeal. And all those pastimes and related stories and expressing our gratitude towards the Almighty. So thank you so much. Really, really wonderful class, Prabhu. Very insightful. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah, even I wanted to, what Achyut Prabhu was saying, that you have put a lot of pictures, and that was, I don't know, it was AI generated or what, but many of them were very, especially that Vara and Varadev and that fight of Hiranyaksha. Some of the pics were, you were taking each one of that, and there was some small picture I got into that. Interesting, bro. We'll take some tips from you on how to do that. Okay, so it's almost 7:30. So once again, Anchal Prabhu, very, very insightful session, a lot of learnings. I think it gives a very fairly idea how to make a simple, of course, the fight between the Lord and Hiranyaksha is also interesting, but it was, a simple, plain, fight, which you made it very interesting by so many takeaway points, so I think it's all about taking the essence out of the sweet pastimes of the Lord and just learning those, takeaway. And most important and difficult part of that is to apply all that in our life. But one good thing is that we keep hearing. Maybe one day we will be able to apply all those, things in our life. And that's how what is the goal of Nityam Bhagavad Sevya. We keep hearing, and then slowly we will be able to imbibe those wonderful qualities of the devotees of the Lord and all the essence of scriptures. So before we express our gratitude to Anchal Prabhu, I would let everybody know that next week we will not have the session because we have Brahmotsav in our temple. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 3 days there are various programs planned. Sunday is Narsimha Chaturdashi, so there would be Narsimha Abhisheka and all that. Apart from that, Tepotsav, Palaki Utsav, Mahamilan, as usual, our Brahmotsav festivities will be there. It will start from Thursday with the Adivas ceremony, and then Friday, Saturday, Sundays, there will be various programs. As soon as it is published, it has come in the draft form, but it is not yet come in the formal this thing. I'll publish to all of you, but I will request everybody to keep yourself free next 3 days. Enjoy the wonderful, festivals which will be happening. And of course, there are going to be a lot of sevas. We need helps from devotees, to perform certain big sevas, especially in Narsimha Chaturdashi. 2,000 people are expected to visit the temple, and then we have various sevas. So, so please keep yourself free next weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And as soon as we finalize the seva, I will post your respective leaders will post to you sevas and be available. And also tomorrow our seva is kitchen cleaning, and I think we need helping hands because that is a little bit rigorous seva, which requires physically fit, which is very rare to find in today's world. Physically fit devotees with strong back and legs and all that. So, so all the fit devotees and unfit devotees also, please come and participate in seva tomorrow. It's also anything else we'll post in the groups. So thank you, Anchal Prabhu. Thank you once again. I would like everybody to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra once, expressing our gratitude to Anchal Prabhu and looking forward to hear from him more and more in future. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, श्रील गुरुदेव की जय, गौर प्रेमानंदे।